shifting gears slightly, question for you guys about habit and motivation, I suppose. One of my operators on my team, Justin, set up a call with you a few weeks ago, I think, or last week, possibly. Jose, shout out to Jose Mucati. And he told me that he was just blown away with the degree to which you challenge yourself in many ways, not just in your business, physically, mentally. Could you maybe describe a few of those things that you do to challenge yourself every day?
Yeah. So I cold shower. I only shower cold.
I tried doing that. I had to switch to hot first, cold to finish. All cold's a bit tough. I can see how that's a powerful way to start.
Especially before I do estimates, I actually I look at the cold shower as initiation into the day. So I'm saying like I'm going into this shower as this, and I'm coming out as this. Insert whatever you want the outcome of the day to be, or what value you want to really contribute. And I feel like the fact that you're just putting yourself in there in the resistance, you're like really cementing that into your subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
When we first went on the marketing blitz like that, I don't know if it was reading week. I don't know. It was like there was a time where it was really important to market. I just didn't eat for the week, and I just drank water and just knocked on doors.
Okay, hold on, pause. That's insane. How do you deal with
not
eating? Yeah. I know he's not joking. So how does your, because
I do like a week fast now and then just to keep myself in check, because I love food. Like sometimes I get really lean, and sometimes like right now my cheeks are kind of chubby because I've been eating a bit more. So actually I'm fasting right now. But I just do some week fast here and there to keep myself in check and just clean out my system. But it saves so much time. You don't think about food. You don't think about cooking. You don't think about grocery shop, nothing. All that time, you're just knocking on doors or you're doing something
else. At what point does your hunger go away?
About day 4. Day 4 is the hardest day. And then after day 4, if there's something called snake juice, and it's just like water with salt and potassium. This your electrolytes, but without calories. You can stay in autophagy, which is basically like your body's eating itself, to recycling itself to keep in operation. Anyway, so drinking that to keep me satisfied. I'll heat it up sometimes and drink it like it's soup. But that I feel I get to a point where I feel so clear-headed, so focused, like it's spiritually connected to something, to God, you could call it, or to the infinite intelligence. I know it sounds very deep and maybe like I'm reading from a book, but it's actually like after 4 or 5 days, you do feel something different, and your connection with people, your smell of food, you're just so appreciative, so grateful. Grateful for being out in the cold, knocking on doors. I remember I was thinking about a steak in the future, and I was like, oh my God, like I can't wait. And it would pump me up at the door, and I'd be like, how's it going? Thinking about a steak in the back of my head.
You guys should know Justin is trained in the Wim Hof Method as well. So if you're hearing this, you shouldn't just do it. Like Justin
this is what I'm trying to wrap my head around too.
Like he's trained for this. Like he doesn't do this just randomly. He's built up to this over many years.
I'm fascinated by this, Justin, because I honestly can't go more than 12 hours without eating. Like I've essentially convinced myself that, like, you know, you start getting like, I feel weak. I honestly feel
Doesn't it take like a week to die, or like weeks to die?
I know. So this is like a perfect example of essentially letting myself. It's clearly not real if this is the case. So how do you? I guess let's actually frame a question here, so I'm not just rambling at you. If you were starting off from zero, or when you were starting off before, what was like the first step you took to go in the direction of fasting? Sorry?
Oh, fasting? Intermittent fasting. That's a good one. That's great. You should be do whatever you want. It's good. It's a good thing to implement in your life, especially if you want to lose weight.
Eating for, I think, is it 8 hours a day? Like you have an 8-hour time window?
Yeah, the time period could be really anything. It's just like you have a period of time where you eat, and then you want the period that you don't eat to be longer, and you can clear out the windows. It's good to do it. It's good to stop eating before you go to bed, and like have a little gap, and then sleep, and then just have a little gap before breakfast. And that's the easiest way to do it. And then I went from there to slowly extending it. And then I would just have 1 meal a day. I loved 1 meal a day. I like making a big stew with like beef. Like I was a butcher, right? So like beef with bone, and I'm just kind of a primal guy. I love primal stuff, like hunting, like bow hunting, and just like hands-on. So yeah, I don't know. That's what I like to do. I guess that could help with the business for sure, in some way.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty. So, could you maybe describe the Wim Hof method for people that don't know who Wim Hof is?
Yeah, Wim Hof Method. This is John. Have you heard of the Wim Hof Method?
Absolutely, brother.
Hey, because it's so stoic. It's emotional control. It's using nature to strengthen your, you call it your soul, but basically it's breathing there. It's a method that has mindfulness, breathing, and cold exposure. It was made up by this guy named Wim Hof. He's a 26 world record holder for enduring cold environments, and also like hot environments too. He's just a beast. And he contributes all his success to being able to influence his nervous system and control his stress response with his breath. So he developed this breathing method, and I'll rewind. He hiked Mount Everest in his shorts. So, and I'll come back.
He hiked Mount Everest in his shorts.
Well, he went to the, not to the peak. He went very close.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he also had an ice bath for 2 hours, or like hour and 56 minutes under the ice cubes.
The craziest one, if you don't mind me interjecting, the craziest fucking story with Wim Hof is he did the world record for the longest so he went through one hole in the ice and did the longest swim and came back up the other side. His fucking retinas froze.
Yeah.
Like his actual eye, like the retina froze because he was swimming, because he had to do it with his eyes closed. Okay. Because obviously the water's cold, but he like was swimming and swimming. Hold on. He was swimming and well, cause he kind of knew. And so he was swimming and he went up to go feel where that thing is. And he had overshot the world record by like 26 feet or something. Mm-hmm. So he opened his eyes to see where the hole was, and his fucking retinas froze. So he was like swimming around, finally found the hole and got out. But he was on a like this is like negative, you know, like this is like it was somewhere like off the North Sea. This is insane. His retinas froze. He was blind for like until he basically thawed out.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I love about him and his practice is he's really about intuition and following your instinct and getting back in touch with your instinct. And that comes with practicing the method. That comes with putting yourself in cold environments, because we're so comfortable nowadays where we line the thermostat or hoodies to be warm, but we forget about this internal mechanism we have inside in our brainstem that can keep us warm and that can regulate. So basically you put yourself in uncomfortable situations in terms of environment. It's called environmental hormesis. And it's kind of like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but also brings you back to like this primitive aspect of the brain. And I really believe that gets you in line with some type of intuition thing, some type of internal guidance system. And yeah, I just suggest everyone to Google Wim Hof breathing and do a couple of rounds of the breathing. You're going to hold your breath for the longest you've ever held your breath for.
It's pretty insane.
It's insane. My first time I held my breath for 4 minutes and I was like, okay, yeah, what's going on here? And that's when I reached out and got certified. And then I remember doing the breathing method, and then Wim Hof comes into the room. I didn't know he was going to be at the training. They said he wouldn't be, and he came in and got to meet him and actually like
wow.
But anyway, Broder, I don't want to be hogging the talk here.
Hey, I love it. I told Justin, I told him that at the house we're gonna have an ice bath for sure. We're gonna have an ice bath in the basement or something. That'd be awesome.
I could see you guys entering your stats at night, like both of you in the same ice bath together. Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
You know, it's interesting that just like one last thing on the Wim Hof thing. You know, when I go for like a really long run and I'm just to the point of like just, you know, for the most part pretty exhausted, I'll do a Wim Hof breathing technique for like 2 to 3 minutes while running.
Yeah.
And then I'll have enough oxygen in me that I can then do a full out sprint. Whereas previous to doing the Wim Hof, I wouldn't have the oxygen in order to do a full out sprint. So like I could do like a full out 100-meter sprint at the end of a half marathon after getting all that oxygen in me.
Yeah. We are like when Wim Hof says, we are the alchemists of our own chemistry. Like our breath controls our CO2 and our oxygen levels.
Yeah.
Acid and alkaline. And 100%, like when you're running over time, you get CO2 build up. So if you just build up the oxygen and then maintain that as you run, like when I ran my first marathon too, I did Wim Hof so much before I went. And then I just kept that level as I'm running and just kept it. And then I just keep going.
Yeah, almost every half hour, you would want to almost get your oxygen levels back up. Yeah.
So when you say you were trained in the Wim Hof method, what does a certification look like?
So it's an online 14-week course. You got to like do these different things, breathing, cold showers, like time yourself, do stuff. Then I bought a freezer. I filled it with water and then froze it. So I'd like in the morning I'd break the top layer and then like dunk in for like anywhere.
Like an actual like chest freezer?
Yeah, you can make your own. You just save money on buying ice all the time and dumping it in your bathtub, which is fine.
Right.
And then I went to LA and did like a workshop with these people. There's doctors there. There's people that treated their Lyme disease through this, brain tumors shrinking. Like they have like crazy results from doing this method.
Huh.
They cured Lyme disease?
Wow.
There's actual research behind all this too.
You can, there's research behind it.
Lyme disease.
I would go in deeper, but yeah.
Wow.
And anyway, certification, did the LA, and then went to Seattle. We hiked a mountain up to this glacier water. We swam in it. We had this group thing. It was so primitive, by the fire, bongos. Like it was just back to the roots.
That sounds amazing.
It's amazing. And actually, I'll just add this in before I go to Broder too. My PM, I'm figuring out what I'm doing right now. Shout out to Jack Vogt. We connected through Student Works. Like he painted for Mac last year. He also does the Wim Hof every morning. So we've been getting together, doing the Wim Hof together. And then Mika, another marketer, and he's gonna be a painter. He's gonna be an amazing painter, amazing marketer. This guy's awesome. He also does Wim Hof. I remember showing it to him a couple years ago. So it's like these Wim Hof guys are kind of getting attracted to.
What does a Wim Hof morning look like for you?
The breathing, and I'm gonna put this. I'm not necessarily consistent with it. I don't do it every day. I used to do it every day. I do it maybe 3 times a week. But I do the breathing. I lay down. I do the breathing, 3 rounds, and then I have a cold shower.
How long's the cold shower?
Sometimes it's 2 minutes. Sometimes it's 8 minutes. Sometimes it's 30 seconds.
Okay.
Just like,
So a person on my team too, Noah Bolduc, was telling me that he does the Wim Hof breathing method in the mornings to wake himself up. And I've done it once in my life. I tried it one morning when I didn't have any coffee. I was like, whatever, I'll give this a try. And it honestly, like it no word of a lie, woke me right up. Like I just felt like I was moving, and my body had been moving for a few hours already that day.